Get on board. Because she's going to be huge. Huge. Okay. I have to tell you guys something awful, gross that just happened. This is the last time I try to use, the lipstick thing that then you put on and then you're supposed to like take it off and it's a lip stain. I am never using that shit again. I've only had horrifying experiences with it. And just now I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to use this. Like, first of all, look at my fingers. I went to peel off a patch and I just peeled my lip off. And I was like, oh, I just peeled my lip off. No, it's Cutie's favorite thing. I have been with her as she's used it. I don't understand how people do it. I peeled off my lip. Hi, Caroline. Lots of love from South Africa. You're so cool. Okay, bye. Wait, where are you going? Girl, what? I know. It's so concerning. I'm never using it again. It was like something out of a body horror film. I just peel my lip off. Hi, Tiny. Yeah, your dad's gonna take you on a walk. Come here. Come here. I know. You're doing the... Hold on, you're at computer, but no walkie? It's 3 a.m. in South Africa. It's Friday night. Or Saturday. Oh, no walkies. That's because I gave you your walk this morning, so your dad needs to give you the walk now. Oh, I know, little tiny. Little teeny tiny. He demands his walkies. It's so funny because he knows he gets a walk usually around this time. So Will usually walks him when we get up, and then I walk him before stream. He's just a baby. It's just a baby. I know. Walkies and uppies and treaties. Yeah, when we went to get coffee, I was very proud. We went to get coffee, and one of the employees was like, does he do any tricks? I said, you can try. You could try. So he goes, okay, sit. And he sits. And he goes, paw. And Farley like kind of remembered it from his training with Sam. Kind of. It was a little rough. He was kind of doing like this. But you know what? I was proud. I was so proud. And then he got his tweet. Anyway, how are we doing? How's it going? How's everyone feeling this Friday? Our boy's a genius. He is. I know, look at him. Ashley, we already watched that TikTok. You weren't here, so see ya. I already saw this diva. This diva who stole the jewels, but honestly deserves. Let that diva keep them. You should practice him to keep him fresh. Oh, I know. We should practice. Oh, I know. Ashley's washed. Yep. Ah! Hey! Crazy. Come on, red lip. Come on. That's right. Let's go. Hogan, thank you for the gifted. Sonica, thank you for the 6 months. Paul Rudd, thank you for the 15 months. Unseen Fiend, thank you for the prime. Ooh, is this... Ooh. Let's take a look. The final chapter of Amanda the Explorer. Why didn't they try to release this in October? I don't know. Well, it comes out on November 6th.
Hey, Wooly, it's time.
Wooly.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Dear Riley, if you're reading this, it means you won't see me again unless it's in the next life.
Wooly Slay.
It's on tape. But know that once you watch it, there is no...
I love how excited I am for this and have, I guess, amnesia and forgotten how much I went insane.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Wooly.
The gang's all back.
Who even are you? Go away!
There's a fire. A really bad one. It's Kate's house.
Are you even paying attention? I feel weird.
Riley, get out of here.
Listen. It was never ours to leave. She was already gone.
Why can't I remember what it was?
I know what you've been doing out there. And it's not going
Wooly, let's play.
to... You can't change anything.
Stay safe, my dear.
Is this a movie or video game? It is a video game series. So it's called Amanda the Adventurer. And it looks like it'd be a kid's game. It's not. It's very fucked up. Not that there aren't kids things that are fucked up, but it is it's a game that makes you lose your mind, but you can't stop playing it. And I think the first time, wasn't it like the first night I played Amanda? And I just kept being like, I have to stop. But I couldn't stop. I could not stop. It's a puzzle game, and it's the kinds of puzzles that you go cray-cray. It wasn't, I don't think it was levels of losing my mind that was 12 minutes, but it was there. It was there. You know what it is? Okay, something about me. I go cuckoo during puzzle games, but I love puzzles. I love puzzle games. So I can't stop playing them, even though, yeah, actually the egg game broke me too. I still don't think anything broke me like 12 minutes did, though. I think that game was the ultimate break. Silent Hill series producer Motoi Okamoto has insisted AI would never be able to make Silent Hill F. Hates AI being used in place of actual human creativity. Got old Team Silent devs back to develop short message in future games. Understands that the series can survive off just remakes and gives new developers freedom to experiment with the series. Kind of fuck with this guy. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Can't wait for you to play through my summer car. Is that the RV game? Because Sam has been mentioning this RV game. RV game. No, that's RV there yet. RV there yet? Wait, what is my summer car? Was released in early. Blah, 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 blah. It's the. Oh wait, no, that's the one where you build the car, right? That's the car building one. Did you guys see this piece? Sorry to hard pivot. I haven't read it yet, and it's really super duper long, and I don't have a long time to stream tonight. Has anyone seen this? This was in Harper's Bazaar? Harper's, yeah. And the lead story was actually by Taylor. It was a forum with Jelani Cobb, Taylor Lorenz, and Jack Schaefer and Max Tawney. Shout out Taylor. But this piece, this piece is called The Goon Squad. Loneliness, porn's next frontier, and the dream of endless masturbation. And just kind of scrolling through the amount of times goonicide, gooning, gooneral, goon caves, gooners. In this earlier stage, if you wanted to watch porn, you still had to actively seek it out. That has since changed. Right as gooners began to solidify as a social force, I could no longer open Instagram without encountering dozens of large-breasted women skipping rope, romping in tank tops, brushing their teeth while drooling erotically. It's a fucking gooner's world out there. I mean, okay, here's the thing. I will say, too, I know there's a lot of that out there, but that's not everybody's algorithm. I do feel like it's based on what you like and what you watch. You know, I know that stuff gets pushed too, but what is a gooner? Okay, so let's read the Urban Dictionary of gooner. A male who watches porn all day long while masturbating. One who's completely and miserably addicted to porn but embraces and loves it. Here's it used in a sentence. I watch porn all day. I think I'm becoming a gooner. But it's slang. It's a term that I think kind of is used more broadly to I watch porn all day, but I shake my head so people know I'm not a gooner. I watch porn but don't masturbate. I watch it for I watch it for the artistic elements, for the plot. Yeah. I'm really interested in cinematography. Trying to get into that more. Bio Drummer, thank you for the 8 months. So yeah, so that's this big piece that I am probably gonna read at some point because I feel like I have to. I feel like I have to because I know people are gonna be talking about, hey, did you read the Goon piece? Did you read the Gooner piece in Harper's? The world of gooning. It's funny because I have a friend whose last name is Goon, and in college we called her Gooner. Times were different back then, though. The Goon piece is real. I know. You know what? Iconic last name, though. And when she got married, I asked her, I was like, so what's going to happen to Goon? The Goon is gone. The Goon is gone. We used to also call ourselves like the Goon Squad. I don't know. When you have a last name that's Goon, your friends will constantly be saying your last name. Gone goes our Goon. Gone goes our Goon. Goon used to mean Aquila back in the day. Yeah, isn't it associated with football, or am I crazy? Back in my day. Goon, but not for Goonton. Goon, but not Goon Girl. I feel as if that could have been the title of that piece, Goon Girl. Also hockey, yeah. Goon with the Wind. I'm just imagining all of these classic films reimagined with Gooners. Well, you got the Goonies. You don't have to change that one. Goonies Never Say Die. Goon in 60 seconds. Top Goon Maverick. In space, no one can hear you, Goon. That's so true. What prompted you to say, am I Gooner? Yeah, I've got a little bit of that in me. To goon or not to goon? That is the question. There's a hockey movie called Goon. Is Goon is a term in the last couple years, right? Really, I feel like the last years when I've seen Goon all over the place. Wow, there really is. It says Goon trailer. Goon trailer. Let me watch a couple seconds. Am I gonna get slapped?
There he is.
I don't have a thing. Like, you had your show, and my dad and my brother, they have their doctor thing. Everybody's got something with me.
I'm sorry. Would it help that I want you inside me? Let's just go watch the assassins kick the shit out of Oshawa.
Hold on a second.
That's it.
Oh, he's going up in the stands.
Send us over here. Oh, Attaboy,
Doug, you impressed the hell out of me last night. Come down to the rink for a tryout.
You know you're not enjoying the mousecapades, right, buddy?
You're not trying enough for the fuck it.
You've been touched
I like that hockey is just a bunch of dudes fighting.
by the fist of God, for Christ's sake.
What number you want to wear?
Take the number 69. It's hilarious.
Is that never taken?
My brother, he wants to offer you a contract. You're not here to play hockey. You're here to fight. This is one step under the big league.
No glory holes here.
It's the players and the fans.
Stay away from my
It's the
fucking
players and the
Percocets.
fans.
And do you have any fucking Percocets?
All right.
We help and protect these guys.
Go fuck your mom.
I'm here to do whatever they need me to do. If they need me to bleed,
Honestly,
then I'll bleed for my team.
This works with the now usage of goon being what it is.
They call you Thumb, for Christ's sake. My fucking
Blue
eyeball
Pop,
just
thank you for the
ejaculated.
5 months.
I dig hockey players, the violence, the beer, all of it.
Boy popped a cherry tonight.
What does that mean?
It's time to welcome Doug officially. We should sign his dick. Everyone sign his dick.
What's happening here?
I'll sign your dick, Doug.
Boss, the boss, Ray.
This
He
is
is the master.
actually pretty well received.
If ever there comes a time when it gets down to you and me,
It does always amaze me how many movies there are that I've just never heard of.
I will lay you the fuck out, kid.
This has all the elements of a sports masterpiece. Ready?
Yes. Thank you for asking.
This is about to get ugly.
Goon.
Number 6, you light him up.
In a world of gooners. Wait, goon doesn't mean henchman? No, it does. It does. There are multiple meanings. There are multiple meanings associated with goon. It's just that now the one that's become very popular is in reference to dudes who jack off all day. Gooner, gooning. That kind of goon. There's also a 25-year-old comic book series called The Goon. I'm just imagining this. Just imagining this guy in like a doorway, in a shadowy doorway, just jacking off. He's the goon. But the reason that we started talking about it, oh God, Anne Hathaway's a secret gooner and now her reinvention is complete. The reason that we started talking about this is because of this piece in Harper's called The Goon Squad. And it is all about gooners as it pertains to porn. And and Anne Hathaway. It's a fantastic article. Yeah, I'm going to read it at some point. Okay. I have to show this clip for multiple reasons. So I just discovered this podcast. It's called In Your Dreams with Owen Thiel. And I feel like this is the vibe that I was trying to go for, that I had envisioned for my pop culture podcast. Setting being very like 90s, 2000s pop culture. He's got, you know, a poster of Mariah Carey, Charlie's Angels, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, Lizzie McGuire. It's so cute. And he has this bed set up like a very sleepover, slumber party vibes. Such a cute idea. And the reason I found out about this podcast today is because I guess Hailey Bieber went on and she was asked about people calling her trans as an insult, because that's just the world that we live in. And this was her response.
Trying to be mean. They're like, she looks trans. And I'm like, why do you think that's a diss?
Wait, totally.
As if being like trans is a diss.
Totally.
Or like some of the most beautiful women in the world and
Literally.
men in the world are trans.
Totally.
So I just don't take that offensively at all. But
I love
people say
now
that.
you're just in here.
They're trying to be mean. They're like, she looks trans. And I'm like, why do you think that's a diss?
Wait, totally.
I mean, yeah, it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Is that supposed to be an insult? Look, normally I don't really care about Hailey Bieber. I'm not too tuned in, clued in, don't really care about the Hailey Bieber circle, that kind of side of pop culture. But I just like this response. I liked it. She's like, why would this be an insult? That's a compliment. Some of the most beautiful people in the world are trans. Oh, did you think that you got me on that?
Totally.
As if being like trans is a diss. Or
Totally.
like some of the most beautiful women in the world and men
Literally.
in the world are trans.
Anyway, I'm just obsessed with this whole setup. I love it so much. I love I think of this Gaga clip often. I think this is one of my favorite clips of all
There's
time.
that rumor that you had a male appendage, that you were a hermaphrodite, and you joked about it on the stage last night.
Maybe I do.
But it's interesting.
Would it be so terrible?
Would it be so good? Marksy Marks, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Thank you. Moonside Boob, thank you for the 23 months.
It's interesting. A lot of artists would immediately put out some sort of a statement saying this is absolutely not true. You have fun with it.
Why the hell am I going to waste my time and give a press release about whether or not I have a penis? My fans don't care, and neither do I.
That rumor.
So this clip has been making the rounds because there was a Twitter prompt that was like, name a time a celebrity gagged their interviewer, and then of course this one. But Gaga also clarified later, and she said, "Look, here's the thing. The reason that I said this is because I never want to give off the vibe that even like that's not okay, that intersex people, that trans people, gender nonconforming, non-binary, etc., that there's something wrong with that. So I don't care. So if people say that about me, whatever." And she was basically like, I'm not going to, one, I don't give a shit, but two, I think it's important not to deny it, because by denying it, it makes it seem like that's bad. Also, Anderson Cooper stays a weirdo. It's important people's response isn't to just deny validating that could be an offensive thing to be, but say, why is that an insult? Yeah, I think that's a great way to shut it down, where it's like, is there something wrong with that? Why are you framing this question as if this is an insulting thing, as if I should be insulted by it, as if inherently it would be bad if I had a penis? Caroline, did you see the massive general strike in New Zealand in support of teachers, doctors, nurses, and firefighters? The current government is one of the most hated governments in modern history here in NZ. Last time we had a general strike was in the 70s. I didn't, but hell yeah. That's awesome. I'm on board. You reinforce that it's a bad thing or something worthy of clarifying. Yeah, for sure. I mean, at this state too, this is how absurd transphobia is that a lot of major celebrities and public figures will be transvestigated. It's so stupid. And there's like no point. And it's also, I think, could backfire in a harmful way to try and be like, excuse me, I'm not trans. Just be like, great. Do you think that's an insult somehow? This is the second best response to, why are you curious about a complete stranger's genitals? Yeah, you just turn around and be like, you're the weird one. Relating to Hailey Bieber, I believe in him. God. You know, if anyone can do it, I think it's Connor Eats Pants. Do you want to join me and Hailey today? I like that he spelled Hailey's name wrong. Welch, not your wife. Thank you for the clarification. Connor Eats Pants did Fortnite Friday with my favorite crypto girly, Hailey Welch. Wait, that's how she spells it? H-A-L-I-E-Y? No, it's H-A-I-L-E-Y. Y'all, I was like, hold on a second. I have never seen Hailey spelled this way. Wait, is it? I'm confused. It's spelled, wait, hold on. It's spelled both ways. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. Yeah, Wikipedia has it as Hailey, but then her own Instagram. You know what? This is not even worth me trying to figure out the correct spelling here. Gingerbread Fetus, thank you for the gifted sub. Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this. This. Kiki Palmer. So, Kiki Palmer introduced a new show that is going to be on Key TV network. It's her company. It's digital programming. So this is a digital series. It's going to be on Facebook and YouTube. And a lot of people saw the trailer. As you can tell, this only has 3K likes and 1.4 thousand comments. A lot of people saw it and went, this is really weird. I'm not sure about this.
All right, say cheese. Cheese. Okay. I know I got some explaining to do. I got it. Let's start with the elephant in the room.
Yes, I'm Asian. Yes, my family's black. And yes, I've always been hard to miss.
The elephant in the room being, I'm Asian and my family is black.
College is what you make it. Once you immerse yourself in the opportunities here, I'm sure that you will find W has so much to offer.
I mean, too hoe or not too hoe.
Okay, here's the thing too. I'm pretty sure that this is based on the writer's actual experiences, but the writer is a black woman. So feels strange to change it up to have the main character be Korean, which also, why is the show called Southern Fried Rice? I don't know. Fried rice is really a staple, is a cuisine staple in Chinese culture. So I don't know why it's called Southern Fried Rice and just kind of feels cringe. The title alone, it's like, but it's really weird to have. Okay, let's just finish this.
Coco, that girl, Jackson.
For a lot of people, this is hard to understand, but black culture is the only culture I know.
Okay.
Tiger, pride, W, you know.
I cannot believe I didn't get an audition for this. Yeah, true.
For every person that prejudges you, there are dozens of people that can't wait to get to know you.
Yeah. That's why I chose Wright University. So I could be with people who get me.
So that I could figure out who I am.
Why is it shot vertically? Because that's the new
beyond
thing.
The comfort of what's familiar.
Okay, this premise doesn't make any fucking sense. This premise doesn't make any sense. So essentially the whole story, the crux of the story is that she's a fish out of water because she's Korean and she's attending an HBCU. So she's surrounded by Black people, as you can see. But how is she a fish out of water if she grew up with a Black family? Do you know what I mean? So just by that fact, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. How are you doing the fish out of water thing here when she grew up with a Black family? So her attending a historically Black university, how is that a culture shock? I don't understand. The other thing is look, I think this would have worked better, a lot better, would have been more interesting if, say, she was Blasian, Black and Asian, and either she is growing up in an Asian, maybe parents split up, parent died, whatever. So her family is primarily Asian or primarily Black. And so it's kind of that never feeling like you kind of are caught in this in between where maybe you don't feel like you're part of Asian community or you don't feel like you're part of Black community. So then when you go to school at an HBCU where you are primarily surrounded by Black people, then maybe there's more of a cultural shock there. Watch the first episode. I'm okay. I am probably not going to watch this. I will say I read from people who are like, I watched this show so you didn't have to. And they're like, it's as bad as it looks. It's as bad as it looks. Yeah, I just also like maybe you could have had her be just Asian growing up in an Asian family and attending an HBCU because that happens. Like there are non-Black people who do attend HBCUs. It's a small minority. So you could have done it that way. But anyway, so people have been responding to this and going, Kiki, what is going on, girl? What's the deal here? And I'll also say, I can't keep defending you. I can't keep defending you. I will say there have been, it's like when you look at, when we look at real world issues with, say, Asian actresses like Awkwafina who were appropriating and exploiting Black culture, and then she was called out for it and finally dropped the Awkwafina act and was like, hey, I'm just going to be Nora. And you went, oh, okay, so that's what your voice sounds like. So clearly it was putting on an act. And then also the fact that, Asian Americans, specifically East Asians, were major participants in fighting affirmative action in this country and helped affirmative action to be overturned. I think there's a sensitivity there where you have placed a Korean main character in the midst of an HBCU, given that politically what has been going on with pitting, I mean, this is not a new thing, but pitting Asians against Asian community against Black community, and how a lot of East Asians who have been involved in the fight against affirmative action have been doing so at the behest of benefiting white people. Because the truth is, if you don't know, affirmative action does not hurt Asians by benefiting Black and brown people. That's just simply not true. And nobody wants to talk about legacies. Nobody wants to talk about the advantages that white people have in Ivy League admissions. when an Asian person doesn't get admitted to Harvard, well, the question really shouldn't be which black person got a spot, because that's not the reality, but which white person got a legacy spot, which white person who had the exact same scores, didn't face the same biases, wasn't didn't fall victim to negative action that Asian students do at the admissions level. So it's just, when affirmative action ended, Asian people realized it targeted them too after the fact. When it ended and they realized, oh, that actually was not that's not what's been hurting our admissions. It's not black and brown people getting into Harvard. So I think there's just, the overwhelming negative response to this show had people talking about that, had people being like, why? Why? And not that this is a major show. It's a digital series that's filmed vertically for digital purposes. This is the type of thing that you are supposed to watch on TikTok, that you're supposed to watch on Instagram Reels, short form type platforms. I had so many more model minority Asian friends posting that kind of shit in my timeline than I thought I did when SCOTUS killed affirmative action. I was so annoyed. Well, it's also just disinformation. It's disinformation that convinced East Asians that black and brown people are the reasons that they are facing biases during the college admissions process. And that's just simply not true. And so it's just, okay, anyway. Are we doing TikTok shows now? We've been doing TikTok shows. That's now something that they are integrating into major streaming platforms, vertical content like this. Caroline, this is a complete curveball, but Joji's new song came out. I hate that it's good. I know he's not Kanye, but he's still got an interesting past. Would be interested to hear your insight because you're good at laying out things. I like Joji. I saw Joji at Coachella, but that was the show where he had like a mental breakdown, I think. He came out, but then he also said he was sick. I don't know. It was something happened when he came out to perform, but we had gone to see him. I haven't listened to his new song yet, though. My grandparents are still bitter that my uncle didn't get into Berkeley despite being a multi-generational legacy. I don't know how they thought they had that much motion. They're like, hold on. We've been here for generations. Okay, what else can I say on this? Yeah, so I just think that there's nothing wrong with having Asian and black characters in a show. And there's nothing wrong with having a show about an HBCU where there are non-black characters, but doing it this way is not the way to do it. And Keke Palmer just keeps making these really bizarre moves. I don't understand her. From interviewing Jonathan Majors in a very cozy way and then people calling her out on it. I do feel like every time Keke is involved with something, there is backlash to it because she consistently is making poor decisions. Did you see her response to it? No, let me see. Keke Palmer responds to Southern Fried Rice. Also, the title of it is just bad. It's bad. When the trailer for Key TV's new series, Southern Fried Rice, dropped this week, social media almost immediately erupted in criticism, calling the series premise tone deaf as it centers a Korean American student raised by Southern black parents at a fictional HBCU. Okay, here's Kiki's response.
Hey, you guys, I don't want to take up too much of your
Sorry.
time, but I wanted to chop it up real quick about this series called Southern Fried Rice that's premiering on Key TV that is receiving some controversial feedback. Now, Southern Fried Rice was created by Nakia Stevens, and while I can't speak to her inspiration for the show, I can speak to her dedication as a creative. I mean, Nakia has written, show-ran, and produced 4 shows alongside her Damn Right Originals team with Key TV. And Key TV has proudly invested over $500,000 on her creations. And I say that because it's not easy to obtain that kind of investment. And Key TV, this is the ethos of the company. It's a network not just because it has stars and shows or has talent, but because it's about the people who create the shows and connecting them. I mean, we have Alex King, a black queer creator that made the short film Keep Me in Mind. We have Antoine Lachey, who created the horror story Blue Forest. We have Cousin M by a father and son duo, Rosero and Eric McCoy. Chelsea Sanders, who created Make It Make Sense.
I don't understand what she's responding to.
And labeled by Lawrence Murray. Chelsea also did Dear Kiki. Look, what you like is subjective, but the support of black creatives is not. And it's a task that Key TV takes on with pride, because if you want to be a creative, you have to be able to create. And that takes money. And it's Key TV's mission to find the funds for you to be in practice, for you to experience trial and error, and to take your projects off the page and get more than one chance to do it in action. So whether you like it all or some or none, I say give these creatives a chance to grow as we continue to grow in supporting them. So God bless you guys. And like I said, Nakia has Southern Fried Rice that's coming out most recently.
So basically you have to watch shitty shows on Vertical.
But she has Nepotista, Ho and Tails, and Psychology of Fuckboys. That's also...
right. There's no longevity if it's not well received. If the initial response to a series that you're creating is people are like, boo, this is cringe, this looks terrible... As I said, how do you have the premise of a character who is a fish out of water when actually they're not, because they were adopted by a black family. They grew up in a black family in a black community and now are going to an HBCU. So there's no culture shock there.
Some great stuff for you to check out. Take care. Thanks for listening. Holla at your girl.
Nothing she's saying is necessarily wrong, but it doesn't address the issues at all. It really doesn't. This is, I am just perplexed. I'm perplexed. I don't know. The lapels on her trench are so crisp. Crisp, though. That is true. She does kind of look like she's doing an incognito look. Did you see the head writer on this show tweet a video begging people to watch it and then promptly say she's leaving Twitter because everyone is negative on there? Okay, I will say it is true. The internet is mean. The internet is very negative. But sometimes I do think the negativity is warranted. Sometimes I do think, it's the same thing as there was this filmmaker who had made this really great indie film and was on the up and up, and then announced that she was going to be participating in this film festival, had been selected as one of like Sora AI's filmmakers. I think it was Tribeca. Yeah, it was Tribeca Film Festival. And people were pulling up her old tweets where she was talking negatively about AI and talking about how we have to take a stance against this and not allow AI to take over creativity from humans. And she did the same thing where it was like, everybody is just so mean. Where, look, most of the times, I think the internet is out of control. I think people get pissy. They are critical in ways that feels unnecessary. And then sometimes it's totally justified. And also, girl, you are on Twitter. Yes. You on Twitter, you can post a picture of your dog and people will be hating pancakes and waffles, let alone a show that people saw the trailer for and went, This looks like ass. What are we doing here? She also tweeted this. As a professional tap dancer and court jester for most of my life, not complaining, I can tell you that it's imperative people of color have jobs outside of just being the talent or the player on the team. I don't think that's the issue. I think people are supporting that. It's my mission with Key TV to help fund and support the creators of color behind the scenes, giving them a chance to tell their own story. But this is what's confusing to me too. So the writer based this on her own experiences. So why don't you have a black woman then, like the writer is, be the main character of the show? Or if you really want to go for the culture shock, fish out of water premise, then as I suggested, you can have maybe a half black, half Asian girl. She doesn't really know where she belongs. Maybe she grew up in an Asian family or in a black family or whatever. Whatever. Or you have an Asian girl who grew up in an Asian family and is anyway, just the creative decisions here. Very confusing. The camera operators, costume designers, writers, directors, prop masters, and the list goes on. There's a common complaint about there not being a lot of black people in the hair and makeup union. The lack of black creators in high positions is a big source of this. I agree. Totally. I agree. Big problem in the industry is not just the lack of black and other people of color in front of the camera, but also behind the camera, in every aspect of the industry. I can't tell you how many times starting out when I would have to get my makeup done for something, nobody knew how to do makeup for my eyes. And frequently I felt I felt ugly. I felt like I look bad. I look bad because there's not a makeup artist on set who knows how to do makeup for Asian eyes like mine. And how this is often a problem with black actors where they don't have makeup artists who know how to do black hair and makeup because they're not black, because this is just, it's historically been an industry-wide issue, whether it's in production, whether it's in hair and makeup, whether it's who's in front of the camera, who's directing. This is why diversity is important across the industry. So I totally agree. But that's not what people are talking about here. And I appreciate Keke Palmer in her goals to ensure that there are more black people across the industry working in, as camera ops, costume designers, writers, directors, prop masters, blah, blah, blah. But the show is just, it seems like it's a real misstep. Nakia Stevens is one of our key makers, along with Chelsea Sanders, Lenoria Addison, Lawrence Murray, Moses Alexander, Lex King, Antoine Lashi, Rosero and Eric McCoy, L'Oreal Palmer, Frank Wimberly, and so many more. Check out their work in our Key Makers series to learn more about them. I'm personally not upset about it like that, but I've never seen someone miss the mark of their target demographic and supporters so bad. Maybe some will watch the show out of this controversy and change opinions, and we all learn from this. I'm trying to be optimistic here. Anyway. Damn, and in theater too, like it's so fucked how much money black theater artists put into their hair comparatively to white actors. Theaters almost never cover the cost despite making the requests. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many ways that racism and a lack of diversity has an effect, and it's little things, but they're also big things. It is having to, as a performer, make sure you can do your hair and makeup, because there might not be somebody on set who can do it. So odd that a person that works on hair and makeup only knows how to do it on certain races. I would have thought you would get your training on all. Well, no. I mean, there are some people who are just, they're just outstanding, and it doesn't matter who it is. They can do hair and makeup on all. But for a lot of people, if you're training, let's say you're white and you only have ever trained in hair or makeup by working with white people, then you're not going to, if you're on set, you're not going to have the expertise, the ability to work on a variety of hair and skin tones, and it's a problem. I remember Sam told me one time that when she was a so Sam used to be a barber, and when she was teaching, because I think she taught, I have to remember, I think when she was teaching, she would tell people, you need to know how to be able to do black hair. And they'd be like, well, how are we supposed to do that? Well, there's no black people around. She's like, yes, there are. And if you can't do that, then you should not be in, I'm not saying it right, but basically we were talking about this one day, just, I don't know why this got brought up, but she was talking about how in the hair industry, when she was training and then when she was training others, how like this is a common problem. This is a common problem. So it is something where you need to make sure that either you or somebody, let's say you have a salon, that you have people there who can do black hair. Because if somebody walks in and you're like, sorry, it's not even just a, hey, we don't want to be exclusive, but you lose business. It's simply also just good for business too, to be able to have that, to be able to have that ability. The tech is also a problem. It's getting better, but cameras are often calibrated to lighter skin tones, and the basic understanding of how to light and shoot people is taught based on white people. Yeah, and like even in the, in the makeup industry, now we have tons and tons and tons of makeup brands that have a wide spectrum of makeup for different skin tones. But this is still relatively new, and this was not until we started to have these conversations around the fact that non-white skin tones are being left out of the makeup business here. And so you had black and brown makeup artists, but they weren't they weren't commercially successful. So for a lot of black and brown people, not being able to buy foundation in your shade was the reality for a long time. And then now there's a lot more options, and there are makeup brands where it's like there's 40 different foundation shades. The actress who played Angela on Boy Meets World had to do her own. Oh, Boy Meets World? Oh, you mean Boy Meets World? I was like, is that a different show? Boy Meets World? Had to do her own hair on set and talked about facing racism from some of her co-stars. The black female beauty influencers on TikTok have been putting in the work, calling girls out left and right, directly adding brands. I mean, it's still a problem too. So just because it's gotten better doesn't mean that it's still not an issue that people face in the beauty industry. It's very common in the tattoo industry too. It's expected in respectable studios that new artists offer significant discounts to people with darker skin to gain experience. Well, you do have to start somewhere. Pomi, thank you for the 12 months. I have to say, though, Tofu, thank you for the 11 months. Hot Dog Diet, thank you for the tier 1. Tallman's, thank you for the 7 months. Gingerbread, thank you for the gifted. I have never gotten a tattoo. I do feel that that's one thing I would be nervous about getting from someone who's in training. Hair, that makeup, that kind of thing. You can go to a beauty school and get a really cheap haircut because they need to practice. A tattoo is something where I'm like, I don't know if I don't know. Fenty's being shopped around and fell off, but it did open up the market and prove that there was one in terms of different skin tones, even ones with albinism, vitiligo, etc. Has Fenty fallen off? Do you just mean because there's a lot more competition now? I mean, I think Rihanna's still I think she's still out here at least very secure in her billionaire status. Fell off a bit. It's being sold in discount stores. Yeah, it could be because there's just a lot more competition, unless something else happened. Got a tattoo from a girly pop in training, and of course, asked for a star. No shade, she fucked my shit up. Christian, see, that's what I'm talking about. She fucked my shit up. Yeah, I can't say that I will be going to get a tattoo from somebody who's in training if I were to get a tattoo. But most other things, sure. I'm Latino. I have curly hair for years. I've struggled to find the right products. It wasn't until I went into a Black-owned salon shop and they told me exactly what I needed for my hair. I'm not Black or Afro-Latino either. I can't describe how important it is to have people from different backgrounds for hair. Yes, absolutely. Cheaper than art school. Thank you for the 26 months. Computer enjoyer. Thank you for the tier 1. Okay, I wanted to. It was $10 though. Still $10. Are you glad you got it? Are you glad you got it? Have you ever heard of the Youthforia Black Foundation shade
Which side of my
drama?
face is the black face paint or the Youthforia Foundation?
No.
You can't tell. You know why? Tar in a bottle.
I'm not really on beauty talk or in the kind of beauty content spaces, so no, I haven't heard about this.
This is jet black face paint, and this is the darkest shade of the Youthforia Date Night Foundation. This is black face paint. This is the darkest shade of the Youthforia Foundation. I'm gonna apply some of the foundation on this side of my face so you guys can see. Let's just go ahead and try to blend this out, you guys. Enough. Who is that color? I'm literally just going in with the face paint. We're gonna do some painting, and let me just go ahead and blend it out with the brush. This is the darkest shade of the Youthforia Foundation. This is black face paint. Sometimes it's okay to say, hey, maybe my brand is not made for complexion, but this needs to be pulled off the shelves. Which side of my face is the black face paint or the Youthforia Foundation? You can't tell, you know?
Oh boy. Yeah. People were complaining at the lack of range, and this is how they responded. It's like, you know what? How about we just out? How about we just out? That is not foundation. That is just an insult. Gotta have you on beauty drama talk. I mean, sometimes I'll see stuff. Sometimes I'll see stuff. And I've talked about some beauty drama before, but no, for the most part, I'm missing out on. I'm missing out on what's happening in the world of beauty talk. This is a funny reaction to this video.
This is the darkest shade of the Youthforia Foundation.
I think everyone's being a little dramatic.
I'm gonna show you how to use that shade.
So first take the black paint, the foundation. Yeah, it's really nice and dark. We're gonna do a drop and then mix a lighter shade. Mix it really good. And if it's still too dark, add another shade of foundation.
Also, what
You're
is that
struggling to match
bottle?
yourself, it's really a you problem. You
Oh
just don't know
my
how to mix the right
God.
pigments. Look at this beautiful shade of skin tone gray I created. You're telling me nobody is this color? Someone is.
This is black face paint. This is the darkest shade of the Euphoria.
That is ancient blackface. Oh my God. Now you're just Silver Surfer. Yeah, now you are now Marvel. Now you are a Marvel villain. Yeah? Huh? Okay, I was waiting for confirmation. All right, I want to take a look at Twitch's tweet response, which came out today, and it's specifically from Dan Clancy. And this is in regards to not just the Emmy Rue situation where she was assaulted at her meet and greet, but also the growing chorus of anger towards clip farming IRL streamers who are harassing people, who are engaging in really obnoxious behavior to get the clip. People like Neon, who was a featured streamer at TwitchCon this year, had a meet and greet. So a lot of noise has been happening on the internet since TwitchCon, and Dan initially did an interview with Taylor Lorenz. She posted a clip. I didn't think it was very good. I think a lot of people felt that. So this is a follow-up response to that. First, I want to be upfront and take accountability for the security incident that occurred during Emmy Rue's meet and greet. This is exactly what I said should have happened. It shouldn't have been what it shouldn't have been what the response was. It should have been this. We are taking accountability. This never should have happened, and we take that very seriously. We failed both in allowing it to occur and in our response following. We mismanaged our communications about the incident, and that includes the comments I made. I apologize to Emmy Rue for all that took place. What are we doing moving forward? For meet and greets, we've begun a complete analysis of the incident that took place, as well as other issues that came to our attention after TwitchCon concluded. We're examining everything from how we do signups to the layout to increase security controls. And my thing was, look, I don't think anybody's expecting in 24 hours to have a complete list of exactly what y'all are going to do to try and fix these problems, to try and improve in these areas that are vastly lacking. Nobody was like, we need to know every single detail now. But I think what was missing was this acknowledgement, this taking of accountability, recognizing the failures in protecting creators like Emmy Rue, and then talking about how they are having internal conversations to look at this incident, look at other incidents, and figure out how they are going to make sure it never happens again. Julian specifically talked about the meet and greets and how unsafe he always felt they were, and how that was why he's never done a meet and greet with Twitch. He organizes his own offsite. Yeah. It's and as I said before too, it's not that there was no security. The problem was not lack of security. The problem was that, one, there were lapses in security. So with that much security around, why is this guy leaving the meet and greet, going through the con, exiting the con, and then going out into the world? With all the security around, with all the people, this still was allowed to happen. And then also the issue of like over policing, over securing people who it shouldn't have happened to. So it was kind of a just priorities in the wrong places. We're also doing a comprehensive review of overall event safety and security, and we'll be making updates for future TwitchCons. While we won't be sharing all security updates for privacy and safety reasons, we will keep our community informed about changes that directly impact attendees. We have heard concerns about IRL streaming at TwitchCon. Twitch has evolved over the years, and IRL streaming is a part of Twitch. But we need to ensure that TwitchCon meets the needs of a variety of participants. We will be reviewing how we handle IRL streaming at TwitchCon, and we'll have more to share soon. Good, because I don't think it's reasonable nor good to say IRL streaming should be banned. I don't agree with that. There are plenty of people who IRL stream and do not cause problems. The issue is with these asshole clip farmers who are now multiple years in a row causing issues for other streamers, for viewers, causing, not just harassing them on camera, but then sending their audiences over to further threaten them. So it's important to be specific about the problem. And that speaks to a broader cultural issue that we talked a lot about when I first covered this, when I got back. This broader cultural issue of pervasive misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, etc., where we are seeing this playing out in female, trans, queer streamers being harassed by these assholes and then receiving further harassment from their communities. Finally, we got clear feedback on accessibility across the event. We're reviewing with our teams, including our production and venue staff, so that we're better equipped for future events. You put a lot of trust in us by attending TwitchCon, and we take our responsibility to keep you safe seriously. We know that TwitchCon means a lot to a lot of people, and it means a lot to us. Be on the lookout for more updates, and thanks for being a part of Twitch. And it's like, do you see what happens when you let somebody like Neon back on the platform? Do you see why people were upset by that? Because he continues to be a problem, continues to actively be harassing other people in the space and then causing them to not be able to attend the con due to an increase in threats. So anyway, I think this is significantly a better response than what initially happened. Initially, what the response was, it did take an entire week, considering that Emmy was assaulted last Friday, which was the first day of TwitchCon. So I guess the question is just, what are those changes going to be, and how is it going to be implemented? So we'll see. We'll see. But I think what people were really frustrated about was this feeling that it wasn't being taken seriously, that there wasn't accountability being had on the part of Twitch, and how it was something. What happened to Emmy was something that never should have happened. And so, of course, all of the broader misogynistic cultural issues, the sexism, misogyny, that is not something that Twitch alone can fix. And that's this problem here is not just related to Twitch's failures at the convention, but they can, as the platform, be stepping in to do something about the harassment culture. So are we gonna watch Taylor's video? Yes, I can only stream for a short time tonight, and I don't know if I'm going to have time to watch it. So we may watch it. We may watch it next week. I mean, it's one of those things that it's not going to become irrelevant. Sadly, it's not one of those that the topics that Taylor and Kat discuss is not something that's going to change anytime soon. Okay, I do want to talk again about the DoorDash situation because my editor posted a clip from the stream where I talked about it, posted it as a reel on Instagram, and my God, I have not sorted through that comment section, but my God, there were so many comments from people who it's scary how much they either have completely been led astray by the facts of this DoorDash, TikTok DoorDash controversy, or they just have no common sense and they have no understanding that exposing yourself non-consensually to someone is a form of sexual violence. It happens all the time and it's not taken seriously. And that's why we end up in situations like this. And also because there were, as we discussed this, there were AI videos of real people whose likenesses had been stolen that was pushing the exact same script that was calling the woman a liar, that was saying that that this guy is actually the victim. So it's such a mess. Someone said she opened the door and now everyone believes it. Just either real people who have made shit up, truly made shit up, and it's gone viral, and that is what's dominating the narrative, or literal AI videos, fake videos. And it does feel like one of those things where when I first saw it, it was when the story was kind of trickling across the internet, so it wasn't that big yet. And when I first saw it, I went, okay, surely this is pretty cut and dry. Oh no, no. How overwhelmingly it seems to be that people are treating this woman as the problem, as the perpetrator, and how I think this is a perfect example of the role that AI is playing in this misinformation system, that feeds on real misogyny. So it's, there's the organic element there, the actual cultural issue, but then how it's inorganic too, because it's fake videos. Okay, so Kat Tenbarge, who's amazing, she wrote a piece on this. This is up her alley. She writes a lot about Darvo, writes a lot about these kinds of abuses. She wrote, a woman said her customer exposed himself to her. How did she become the villain? On October 12th, a young woman named Livy said she was on the job as a DoorDash deliverer when a customer exposed his genitals to her. The way Livy explained it, backed up with footage she originally posted to TikTok, was that she approached the customer's residence and saw the door was wide open. Inside, a man lay motionless on the couch with his pants and underwear pulled down to his ankles. Laws vary by jurisdiction, but based on what Livy said and showed, this was a non-consensual sexual act. Flashing, public indecency, sexual violence, and even sexual assault, the term that Livy used, could all fit. But in the nearly 2 weeks since Livy posted about this and it went viral, racking up tens of millions of views, her DoorDash account has been suspended and the internet has turned her into the villain. Izzy Pizzy, thank you for the 24 months. Savage Dark Hounds, thank you for the 2 months. Now, in Livy's TikTok comment section, her replies are littered with attacks mocking her pain and positioning her as the aggressor. She hasn't posted in over a week and she didn't respond to an interview request. But for anyone familiar with DARVO, which stands for Deny, Attack, Reverse, Victim, and Offender, this cycle is all too familiar. I'm the one getting punished. He's not getting in trouble, Livy said in one video. DoorDash punished me for exposing my assaulter, and TikTok is currently punishing me for exposing my story time. And this is the only justice I'm getting because I also reported this to the police, and the police are doing nothing. Surprise, surprise. You know what's so frustrating too is people will still go, oh, okay, well, if really you're a victim, then report it to the police. Do you think we live in a world where the police take these kinds of things seriously? Do you think that sexual violence is something that victims do not consistently run up against a wall when it comes to reporting? Why do you think so many people don't report? Why do you think so many people don't report? Because what happens is it's not taken seriously. And then even if it is taken seriously by say you get a police officer who actually takes it seriously, and then you will run into the issues of the state deciding, nah, we're not going to prosecute, of the laws that do not protect victims. Initially, people responded to Livy with support. Then the tide turned. Now, the overwhelming majority of responses are defending the unknown man in Livy's original video. How did this happen? You know what's so crazy about that too is that nobody even knows who he is. It's not like he's come forward. She has come forward. And still, even with her appeal to people's reason and humanity and empathy, people still refuse to support her at all. You know, where a lot of times what happens on the internet is the person who comes out and makes a statement and is telling their story, showing their face, etc., may have an advantage because that's a side of a story people are getting, and that's not even the case here. They would rather defend a guy who had his pants down no matter what. Initially, people responded to Livy with support, then the tide turned. Now the overwhelming majority of responses are defending the unknown man. How did this happen? The answer involves a combination of viral misinformation and misogyny aimed at a victim in service of defending an alleged perpetrator. This story has played out on TikTok and elsewhere over and over again. It happened to celebrity women like Amber Heard, Meg Thee Stallion, and Blake Lively. Then it started happening to everyday women. And y'all, this is why I place a lot of emphasis in covering these big celebrity cases. They get a lot of media attention. A lot of people discuss on the internet. And I say always, if you think that these abuses are only like that this is separate, like what normal women go through versus famous women go through. No, in fact, if you have wealthy, privileged celebrities who are still dealing with these obstacles, dealing with misogynistic abuse, what do you think happens with normal women? And this happens to everyday women, which is why we also need to care about it. This is not I don't care about celebrities, whatever. Which, okay, I would hope you care when anybody faces abuse, when anybody is a victim of something such as sexual violence, but you are misunderstanding the consequences and the consequences, and also just the reality for everyday women who don't have the resources that these wealthy celebrities have. Now it's happening to Livy, and this time the societal urge to blame women for gender violence is aided by generative AI tools. Other TikTok creators have identified AI-generated commentary videos spreading misinformation about her story, using the real identities of Black creators to do so against her will. That also feels extra icky, that the AI-generated videos we've seen are of Black creators, people who had their likeness stolen, one of whom came forward and said, I have never said any of these things. I have not talked about this situation. That is my likeness. But let me back up a little bit. After the initial incident on October 12th, Livy posted the footage on TikTok and said the app removed her video and issued a strike against her account. Then she uploaded it again, minus the footage of the man, but again she got a second removal and strike. In the absence of the original videos, people online came up with a Darvo counter-narrative that caught on like wildfire and spread across different social media platforms. They said that the man didn't expose himself to Livy. They denied her allegations, that Livy pushed open the front door when she got to the house, they attacked her character, and that Livy violated his privacy and smeared him. They reversed the victim and the offender. There's no evidence that Livy pushed the door open, but people cropped images from her original TikTok video to make it look that way. Now some people are even saying that the man is suing Livy or that she's in jail, and there's simply no evidence for that. As this counter-narrative developed and started to gain traction, DoorDash issued its official response, which a spokesperson reiterated in a reply to my request for comment. No one should ever have to experience sexual assault, harassment, or abuse, and DoorDash never deactivates someone for reporting it, full stop. However, posting a video of a customer in their home and disclosing their personal details publicly is a clear violation of our policies. That is the sole reason that this Dasher's account was deactivated along with the customers while we investigated. The TikTok comments on this statement are mainly people siding with the company, the customer, and against Livy. Blaming Livy is a convenient way to avoid having to question or hold anyone accountable for what she says happened. The customer, DoorDash, TikTok, and the local police who Livy says declined to investigate further all avoid further scrutiny, while Livy is left unemployed and facing an avalanche of additional harassment. In the past, this pattern of Darvo has been leveraged against celebrity women. Now it's targeting working class women, creating excuses to justify their victimization and the consequences that arise from them reporting it. And Darvo isn't just weaponized against victims of sexual violence. For example, it's been leveraged by Donald Trump's administration against individuals targeted for illegal deportation, and it forms the basis of rhetoric blaming protesters for the causes they are fighting back against. Darvo is a concept developed by psychology researcher Dr. Jennifer Freyd in 1997 to describe how perpetrators of abuse frequently respond to allegations with victim blaming. They undermine the victim's credibility and accuse them of being abusive through lying. Back in May, unrelated to Livy's situation, Freyd told me in an interview that Darvo can be weaponized by people other than perpetrators in their defense. So if fans of a celebrity hear that there has been an accusation against the celebrity for sexual or other misconduct, the fans can start to Darvo whoever made that accusation. We know from research that Darvo has an impact on the target, but it can also sway an observer. And we see that happen all the time. All the time, that the fans will get involved in order to protect a celebrity. Beyond garden variety. I mean, we see this happen with streamers too. You know, when streamers are just how when streamers say something, how you see fan bases activate and to try and also distract from accusations or just other whatever's being said, and try and push smear campaigns. Beyond garden variety misogyny, which is clearly informing some of the desire to smear Livy, there's also money to be made on the internet in positioning women as liars and villains and men as the innocent smeared victims. And TikTok can be ground zero for these cases. 2 years ago, I reported on how viral TikTok videos helped an everyday man smear his ex-wife for reporting his abuse to the Coast Guard, which investigated her allegations and discharged him for emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. A men's rights activist and influencer who goes by Chloe Roma picked up the story and made multiple viral YouTube and Instagram videos attacking her even after she learned the truth. Chloe also hopped onto Livy's case and branded her a sexual predator, spreading unsupported details to dramatize the story further. Oh, wait, you're telling me that there's women who are out here being some of the main participants in this shit? You're telling me that we also have women participating in this culture of misogynistic abuse? What? I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you. And here's the thing too. Obviously, there are instances of men being abused, be they from other men or from women. And the issue with that usually is how it's not taken seriously, because sexual violence against men is still it's still something that is treated as a joke, that is going to it's used as a way to be homophobic, say if a man was assaulted by a man, or if a man was assaulted by a woman, it's still part of patriarchal culture. The consequences for men who have been abused. Men use these women as justification of their take. Yeah, a lot of times these men don't even have to be they don't even have to be the ones leading the charge, because you have women who are doing it. A lot of the people who have been behind the nonstop onslaught towards someone like Blake Lively have been women. Content creators, right? Podcasters, people like Candace Owens, people like that Kirsty lady. Oops, where's my water? But why stop there? According to a different uninvolved TikTok creator, other accounts on the platform created AI-generated commentary videos unpacking this story from the Darvo perspective. And I'll just show this again.
Videos, and I came across this one.
I saw the original video of the DoorDash girl, and I'm a little bit confused now that I woke up and see everything that's happening. When I saw it, I said, hey, I understand why DoorDash, well, I guess fired you, and why you're blocked from the app. Now, as for the guy,
that's a little weird.
It has been brought to my attention that there has been accounts using my face, telling stories that I've never told, sharing news I have never shared. AI is honestly getting out of hand. These people are profiting off of my face, ruining my credibility, and tarnishing my name, because now people are thinking that I'm reading from a script. I've reported this page. I've commented dozens of times underneath their posts. They won't take anything down. TikTok won't do anything about it. Anytime I post about this, I am violating community guidelines. But it's like they're stealing my face. So if y'all come across this page, this post, report it as much as you can. Please and thank you. If anyone else knows how I can solve this problem, please let me know. Too many accounts either steal my content or steal my face.
Yeah, it's horrifying. It's truly horrifying that we are already seeing how this works. There are a lot of people who have probably watched a fucking AI video of someone talking about this TikTok situation, just making shit up. I mean, it's not real to begin with because it's an AI video, and then believing that because it confirms their biases, because people love to hate women, because especially too using a black woman, stealing a black woman's likeness and putting her into this situation. You know, there's an element to that too that feels intentional. When a joke came up on my timeline, I was like, what the fuck? I don't want to know. Ooh, as long as misogyny continues to profit and resonate with mass audiences, there's nothing stopping the churn, and AI can further accelerate the spread of Darvo narrative online. Yes. Thanks for reading this far. If you appreciate my, please support Kat. She's really great. She writes a lot about this stuff. She's she is constantly writing about specifically Darvo and how we see Darvo everywhere. We see Darvo with how protesters in this country are blamed, are turned into the perpetrators of violence. We see this with everyday online stuff like the DoorDash story. Why is it Darvo victims get all this harassment while actual predators like Diddy get off scot-free without even shifting blame? Because misogyny is profitable. Because it's so pervasive. Because the culture is still dominant and people are either perpetrating it actively or perpetrating it by not pushing back on it. Tim Pool's hairline, thank you for the 26 months. I'm telling you, I would make more money. I would be bigger as a content creator if I were the opposite of who I am. If the pop culture stories I covered, if my takes on things were the opposite of what I say, I would be more successful. I would be. And I also would be just more appealing to a lot of viewers on this platform. I will tell you that as a 33-year-old woman who talks about these cultural issues, a lot of people don't want to hear it. That's the reality. They don't. They already look at me. I'm already, I'm practically dead because of my age and being a woman who's my age, let alone the things I talk about. So that's just the truth of it. It's less profitable for me to be pushing back on. I want to hear it. Well, I know you all do. That's why y'all are here. But you know that that's the truth. Right? I mean, how many times am I targeted by men, by male streamers in their communities when I don't even talk about them? It's just because I exist. Even when there are other people who are actively trying to fight with them, actively going after them. And I usually take the, you know what? It's not worth my time. I know what you want. I'm not going to engage in this. I'm not going to go back and forth. Even when I just try and stay over here, do what I do, it doesn't matter because it's just my existing and using my voice the way that I do, which is, it's just chum. It's chum for these misogynists. Men hate staying out of women's business. And they stir up their communities, and it's so easy. It's very easy to come after somebody like me. It's very easy. And I constantly feel like I put my shield up. And I'm trying to dodge it all. And I try not to, I really try not to engage with them. I try not to further give them content and allow myself to be drawn into this bullshit that they're creating, but it's still, it's something that I just can't avoid. I will never be able to avoid it until I'm just gone. And I don't mean dead, like, well, that too, but as long as I'm in these spaces and I continue to speak the way that I do, it will never go away. And so that's why a lot of women don't say anything. That's why when they know what the reality is, they know. I mean, I think some people try and convince themselves it's not that bad or it's whatever, but it's denial or it's a self-preservation of you have to protect yourself from this shit. You're also Asian, so you have a double. Yes. Oh yeah. That element, that intersectionality which produces a lot of hate towards someone like me. Even if I go, hey, I don't spend my streams talking about you. I don't participate in this back and forth. Would you say it's one battle after another? I would say it's one battle after another. I hate it when people make it seem like women and POC are just some are less interested in streaming. That's a naturally occurring phenomenon. It's like, no. Do you know how difficult it is? The obstacles by just existing. And the shit that brings. Ruby, thank you for the 26 months. Temple's hairline, thank you for the 26 months. It's very hostile. Valkyrie says something about Palestine. She gets but like you look at Pokey, you look at Valkyrie, you look at these high profile female streamers who are not political streamers. And even though, yes, there have been times that they have talked about things, it doesn't matter because they still are subjected to misogynistic abuse because they are women. They're also women of color and they are high profile streamers. That is just the reality. That is the reality. And the way that we hate on women, especially compared to what a lot of our male counterparts are doing on these platforms. It's like, oh my God. Okay, so Pokey sold cookies. Pokey sold overpriced cookies. My God, you would think that her crime was to the highest degree. And it's not that female streamers don't fuck up. It's not that female streamers don't get embroiled in controversy, but it is the outsized amount of hatred and harassment, especially compared to what men say and do, and how there's not the same outcry because the people who are driving the harassment towards women are not going to do that, of course, to these men. They're in these communities. You're an advocate for people. Why would they target you? Caroline seems to be a chill person. Why the fuck she's getting hate for advocacy? I wish it were not the case. But unfortunately it is. I am not allowed to be here on my stream, to be here on the internet, advocating for women, for trans and queer people, for Black and people of color, for, progressive issues and the values that I have. I'm not allowed to advocate at all. I'm not allowed to try and be a positive voice in this space, to also just talk about the things that I care about, that are important to me, without being subjected to harassment, because somebody like me is an easy target. Somebody like me is an easy target. I mean, even before Israel and Palestine, when I first started streaming, I was getting death threats. And I will never forget when I asked Will and I said, have you ever gotten a death threat? And he had been streaming at that point for 3.5 years. And he had never gotten one death threat. Yeah, this is when I was like giga new, before I had earned the enemies that I have now. And ultimately the goal is to harass me out of these spaces. For me, it's like, okay, as a woman, you want us to leave you alone. You want to exist without this hostile environment constantly surrounding you, then don't say shit. Right. A woman, not white, says people should have basic human rights. That's my crime. That is my crime. Yeah, but that's the reality is like, it's shut up. It's truly shut up and let us run the show here. Little girl, little stupid girl. For me, the time I found out Trish had a major problem about how women are treated was on Critique of Pokey devolving into that fucking no makeup photo or slut shaming. I just saw another picture of her. A tweet that went viral that was her when she was like baby faced, 20 years old or something. And then a recent photo of her now as a 30-year-old or 29-year-old and being like the wall is right around the corner. And so that's going to lead us into our next topic here, which Jennifer Lawrence, who's returned to acting and who has been, she's been opening up about how she took this break and how she was contemplating not coming back, but then decided to come back. And this is the reality. This is the reality for women. And then especially when you are in a forward-facing industry, one that relies so much on your physical image, like the entertainment industry. And we joke all the time that once you are 40 in Hollywood, you pretty much are dead, that you have 40-year-old actresses playing grandmothers, playing like mothers of actors who are maybe the same age as them. There's the sketch with Amy and Tina about how you're no longer fuckable. But this is something that happens a lot in Hollywood where you have women leave the industry due to essentially being pushed out, whether it is Monique or Katherine Heigl or Jennifer Lawrence. This happens or Anne Hathaway. This happens over and over again where women who are perceived as difficult, who suddenly the public will just go, you know what? She's really fucking annoying. I don't fuck with her anymore. They do this turn when somebody is very popular and then oops, oh, don't like them anymore. And how this is not the equivalent with men. There are still, Anne is still working all the time. Anne Hathaway took a break. Listen, I'm not saying that they haven't returned. And it's actually amazing that they can return and have a career still, but women will leave because they have families, because the media has just been hell for too long, because the people in Hollywood, the public, it causes them to get to a breaking point where they leave the industry. And then you have, on the other hand, abusers who don't go anywhere, who it's like, why are those people not going away? Why are those people not feeling driven out? And then it's like, okay, so essentially, if you have been the victim of someone, say Harvey Weinstein or Philip Burke, which happened to Brendan Fraser, or you are perceived as difficult, you are a bitch, you are whatever the problem is. And how just time and time again, I feel like I see actresses like a Jennifer Lawrence or Anne Hathaway who end up taking a break and really they didn't do anything to warrant the torrent of hatred against them. It's not completely the public's fault. No. I just named multiple. I didn't just name the public though. I am talking also about. I'm talking about Hollywood itself. Talking about the studios. I'm talking about Katherine Heigl left because she was labeled as difficult. They did do something wrong. They aged. Yeah, true. Jennifer Lawrence recently said on the Graham Norton show that she was at peace with not returning to Hollywood during her 2-year acting break a few years ago. After scoring her 4th Oscar nomination with 2015's Joy, Lawrence went on to star in a string of consecutive box office failures like Passengers, Mother, Red Sparrow, and the X-Men spinoff Dark Phoenix. She then stopped acting for 2 years, only returning in late 2021 with Adam McKay's ensemble comedy Don't Look Up. I took a little time. I was working all of my 20s, and then I was like, what's out here? What's going on? When asked if she was worried that she wouldn't be able to get back into Hollywood, the Oscar winner responded, I was at peace with that possibility of that happening. Hollywood is a lot. I think I would have been okay, but also I would have been really upset. I don't know. Speaking to Vanity Fair in 2021 ahead of the release of Don't Look Up, Lauren said that her 2-year Hollywood break was needed as she was not pumping out the quality I should have. I just think everybody had gotten sick of me. I'd gotten sick of me. It had gotten to a point where I couldn't do anything right. If I walked a red carpet, it was, why didn't she run? And this is so true. And I will say too, I have, as a member of the public, as a person, I have participated in this stuff. I talked about how I was like a Hatha hater. I also was like, Jennifer Lawrence is just so fucking annoying. And yes, this is something that can come from overexposure, but I'm trying to talk about the difference generally with men versus women, where over and over again, women will leave Hollywood either permanently or they will take an extended break because people are sick of them, because they maybe accused a powerful person in Hollywood who's then blacklisting them. This happened to Mira Sorvino, because they had spoken up for themselves, advocated for themselves, so they were labeled as difficult to work with. Because of reasons that I'm trying to point out, only seem to be reasons that women leave the industry. Megan Fox, we talked about what happened after Jennifer's Body, how she was ripped apart for that, how she was already experiencing like so much exploitation and abuse in the industry, and how there was just such cruelty, and she took a break. She took a break and she had kids and raised them and then came back. And it's not, and there are sometimes this happens with men, but for the most part, if I feel a man at the top of his game, if he has to step away, it's probably because of very serious allegations. I'm talking about actresses who are top of the game who then step away. Men do not do that because they don't need to, and because there is just not the same culture affecting them. And in fact, like, you have motherfuckers such as Johnny Depp, who we talked about yesterday. His ass is going to be playing Scrooge in Christmas Carol. Brendan Fraser is one of the few exceptions where he was sexually assaulted by Philip Burke, who was then the president of the Hollywood Golden Globes, the Foreign Press Association, and he was blacklisted. He was struggling mentally. The public was very cruel to him. He gained weight. He no longer looked like the Brendan Fraser of the 90s, and he stepped away. And then he had his comeback with, he started to come back, but his major comeback was when he won the Oscar for The Whale. And he had this huge season and, got standing ovations. But yes, he is a person who experienced being a victim and then faced career consequences for that. Yes, Chugis, permission granted. So Lauren said, I think everybody had gotten sick of me. I'd gotten sick of me. If I walked a red carpet, it was, why didn't she run? And this is what I worried about with Chappell Roan, where Chappell, hot on the scene, always speaking her mind, saying things that other people weren't saying. And then how she has a lot of people who have come to despise her because of her willingness to speak her mind and acting in ways that, she should not be acting. and how she's already gotten off of social media. She already has talked about the impact on her mental health. And I was like, look, if you guys push Chapel away, we're going to have some serious problems. If you keep her from continuing to be an artist, to participate in culture, then we're going to have a problem. But already, like, she speaks less on social media because of the torrent of abuse that she's experienced. I remember JLAW being so funny and charismatic on red carpets and interviews. I didn't know about the hate. This happens a lot where you have an actress who is as successful all over as Jennifer Lawrence is, and it's essentially a matter of time when people will start to turn on her, when the perception will be, oh, she's actually really annoying. So her being funny and quirky and having these goofy moments then became this thing where people were like, I'm sick of her. And she took a break. Speaking of Chapel, did you see the news about her new charity to support trans youth, the Midwest Princess Project? I did, yes. Lawrence continued, I think I was people-pleasing for the majority of my life. Working made me feel like nobody could be mad at me. Okay, I said, yes, we're doing it. Nobody's mad. And then I felt like I reached a point where people were not pleased just by my existence. This is what I'm trying to talk about. She, as at one point, the most successful actress in the world. She was killing it at the box office. She was the highest earning actress, I think, as well. And she's like, I felt people weren't pleased by my existence, which is true. That's absolutely what happened. And it's frustrating because it's like, there's just such a double standard for people who are legitimately bad and abusive and should not continue to be working, should not continue to have the protections of, to be protected by their privilege. And those people never seem to go away. So that kind of shook me out of thinking that work or your career can bring any kind of peace to your soul. Margot Robbie. Yeah, Margot Robbie talked about taking a break after Barbie because I think everybody's probably sick of the sight of me. Yeah, I remember when this happened. Where it's like Margot Robbie at the and look, it's not to say that I think actors should be cognizant of the roles that they're taking, not wanting to be too overexposed if it's having an effect on the ability for them to be believable, I think, in their work, where it's like, okay, if they're constantly all over the place, then maybe it could, like, I do think there is value to being, when you are at the top like this, to being selective, but this should go for all people, right? I think this goes for all. And I'm trying to talk about, though, how we really primarily see women say this. Women who will take a break, will step away because they're like, people are sick of me, because people no longer like them since they're just so popular. How you have women who are driven out, like a Katherine Heigl. Zendaya started popping off, and out of nowhere, a bunch of men on Twitter started calling her mid and overrated. Yes. Yep. Where this is, it's like this paradox. It's this paradox of and it's not and it's not just something women experience, but I think it's the way that women then act on it, or how they are or just, I mean, of course it's like, of course the abuse can get to a point that you just can't handle it anymore, but it's people like you, and then you get to this, you pass this threshold into being too famous, into being too popular, that then there's backlash to it, that then now you're a problem and now people hate you. You know, it's the sentiment of, yeah, I don't really fuck with that person. And you're kind of waiting for something bad to come out about them so you can justify hating them. And it's hating them because the level of success that they've reached is now at this point that it inevitably will generate backlash. Yeah, we love you. You should be so successful. Okay, we get it. Do you think you're better than us? Yeah, and then on you know, happening to Tyler right now. Yeah, and it's so frustrating too, because when this happens to women, especially say Black women, like when this happened to Monique, the obstacles in the path of success that most of the time are insurmountable. So for somebody to get to the point where they have, against all odds, reached that level of success and still probably are not getting paid the same amount, same opportunities as say white men in their industry, and how the harassment, the hatred, the get this person out of my face, the backlash, it's just it's consistent. We see this happen all the time, and it's it really is something that, for instance too, I feel like I started to see this with Cinna. So when Cinna started blowing up, first it was like, ooh, I love Cinna. I love Cinna. I love Cinna. You know, who is she? She's so funny. Ha ha ha. And then I started to see oh, this girl is so annoying. Oh, she thinks she's one of the guys. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, I just started seeing backlash towards her, which really seemed to be based in the fact that she had become so successful, because she had become a really big streamer. I'm seeing that happen with Vanilla as well. Yes. Seeing that happen with Vanilla. That happens to, as I said, Pokey and Ray and other women who are at the top of the industry, whether or not they do politics or they talk about any of this stuff. And yes, it's not that there aren't people who hate on big male streamers too because of jealousy and maybe because they are annoying, but the difference being that rooted in misogyny and how a lot of times too, you see women leave these spaces. You see women, it's this double-edged sword of you finally break through, you get that success, and then you are faced with there's backlash to it. And so there are people who step away, who are like, it's too much. I need to take a break. Okie dokie. Next up, let's look at Winter. Thank you for the 5 months. When you get famous from your movie, I'm going to tweet, I never liked that Caroline Kwan. You know what? if that happens, I fully give you permission because that would mean that my movie got made. If that's my deal with the devil, of your movie's going to get made and it's going to be a huge success, but Caitlyn is going to say that she always hated you, I'm taking it. I'm taking the deal. Oh boy. And you know, the frustrating thing about, I could never say it, unfortunately. Come on, Caitlyn. The frustrating thing with being in an industry where you are constantly being perceived and people on the internet will say whatever they want to say is there's only so much you can control. And I wish it didn't suck every time I see something like, oh, Will Neff is great, but his bitch girlfriend sucks. Or like, you know, something where it's not just putting me down, but it's also putting me down in the context of Will. Like, Will is so awesome. And also his girlfriend is a whore. And that woman. Yep. When is somebody going to be like, Caroline Kwan is great, but her bitch of a boyfriend? My favorite thing about Will Neff is Caroline Kwan. No tea, no shade. Do you get your lips done, queen? I get Botox. I get a little tox. But also I ripped my lips up earlier, so it could be why they're extra popping, because I put a lip stain on and I was trying to peel it off and I literally just peeled my lips off, and then I was just rubbing them. Okay, oh sorry, I didn't even explain what this is. So this felt like something that needed to happen, and this is Zohran Mamdani doing a press conference talking about the rampant Islamophobia, because this man is so patient. He has to be. He's a Muslim who is running to be the mayor of New York City, and the pervasive Islamophobia in this country means that he has to be better, so much better than everyone else, and to be endlessly patient, and he is, but it is frustrating how openly racist his opponents are. The media is, Democratic politicians, Republicans. And so a lot of us who have been sitting here and watching him have to deal with just blatant Islamophobic attacks. I think this felt like a long time coming. And he has previously done something like this, radio little press conference and addressed racist attacks against him. But this is incredibly defiant. Sliwa almost died watching this. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
6 years ago, shortly after I'd announced I was running for state assembly, a well-meaning Muslim uncle pulled me aside. He smiled softly and looked at me with care. In a quiet voice, he told me I did not have to tell people I was Muslim. His eyes kind, his beard proud, and his face heavy with the implications of the unsaid. I had not learned the lesson that he had been taught time and again. It is the lesson that safety could only be found in the shadows of our city. That it is in those shadows alone where Muslims could embrace their full identities. And that if we were to emerge from those shadows, that it is in those shadows that we must leave our faith. These are lessons that so many Muslim New Yorkers have been taught again and again. And over these last few days, these lessons have become the closing messages of Andrew Cuomo, Curtis Sliwa, and Eric Adams. Yesterday, Andrew Cuomo laughed and agreed when a radio host said that I would cheer another 9/11. Yesterday, Eric Adams said that we can't let our city become Europe. He compared me to violent extremists. And he lied again and again when he said that our movement seeks to burn churches and destroy communities. The day before that, Curtis Sliwa slandered me from the debate stage when he claimed that I support global jihad. And every day, Super PAC ads imply that I am a terrorist or mock the way I eat. Push polls that ask New Yorkers questions like whether they support invented proposals to make halal food mandatory, or political cartoons that represent my candidacy as an airplane hurtling towards the World Trade Center.
I mean, it is cartoonishly levels of racism. Cartoonish levels of racism. It's so infuriating and absurd, and it is coming from Democrats, it's coming from Republicans, it's coming from people who he has shown respect to and have never shown him an ounce of respect back. Of course not. I will say the eating food with hands has been something that racists keep trying to use as some evidence that Zohran is a dirty, scary Muslim person. And just got to say, shouts out Simu. Shouts out Simu. And I was about to say something to this guy too. And then I saw Simu. I went, you know what? I'm just going to repost him. Vince Dow, piece of shit. Gen Z conservative. As an Asian, I feel I have authority on rice. Eating rice with your hands is gross, strange, and barbaric. Nobody in my family has ever done this. He acts like utensils were never invented. Okay, as an Asian, and also, I'm sure Simu would back me up on this because he goes, you don't have authority on jack shit. You're just putting your own culture down to make yourself more palatable to white conservatives, you dumb bitch. Acting like people don't get their hands dirty eating pizza or ribs or tacos. Shut the fuck up. And I would like to add, as an Asian, I also have authority on rice. So my authority on rice as an Asian is going to come up against your authority on rice as an Asian. And one of us here is not racist. And one of us here is not trying to pander to conservatives. It's so absurd that they over and over again have posted pictures of him eating food with his hands as proof that he is barbaric, that it's just, my God, that he can't do anything. He cannot exist without being attacked, whether he's taking his wife to a sushi dinner for on his birthday or anniversary, whatever it was, eating food with his hands, which is something that happens across many cultures. One of my favorite things about going to get Ethiopian food is the element of like eating with your hands, where you're sitting around, and the food is delicious too. Sit around and eat food with your hands. And it's just a very, it's a really cool experience and feels very, it just feel there's something that's like more intimate and more personal about it. So it's just, mind you, he always has to wear a suit, be aware of how he presents himself. Of course, because when you are Muslim, when you are a person of color in this country that is so racist towards you, you always have to be better than you always have to be better. You always have to be better than the best. Like this was something that I'm not Muslim, but growing up, I felt like I always felt these pressures on me, and a lot of it was internal. A lot of it was me putting it on myself, and I think it had to do with also being a woman who was interested in politics, but like being better than everyone else. And I don't mean in like an ego way. I mean in a not raising my voice, in a not slipping up and feeding into the perceived into the biases, into the oh, see, she's too emotional. This is why women can't do, this Muslim man, he's violent. Oh, look at him. Look at this clip of him yelling. See, he is violent. It's that kind of thing where you don't want to give him an inch. But it doesn't matter because they take the whole fucking mile anyway. They take the whole mile. But still, you have that mentality of, and he's running to be mayor of New York City too. He's got a big job on his hands. But it's that mentality of needing to never give them an inch. And I know that's how a lot of my Palestinian friends feel, and how it's just this constant pressure because they already treat you like a terrorist. They already treat you like a person who was born violent. And so not wanting, and then, the tab. Green Bay Sky, thank you for the 5 months.
But I do not want to use this moment to speak to them any further. I want to use this moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab. I want to speak to the Muslim who works for our city. Whether they teach in our schools or walk the beat for the NYPD. New Yorkers who all make daily sacrifices for the city they call home, only to see their leaders spit in their face. I want to speak to every child who grows up here, marked as the other, who is randomly selected in a way that never quite feels random, who feels that they carry a stain that can never be cleaned. Growing up in the shadow of 9/11, I have known what it means to live with an undercurrent of suspicion in this city. I will always remember the disdain that I faced, the way that my name could immediately become Muhammad, and how I could return to my city only to be asked in a double-mirrored room at the airport if I had any plan on attacking it. And since I was very young, I've also known that I was spared the worst of it. I was never pressured to be an informant, like a classmate of mine. I've never had the word terrorist spray painted on my garage as one of my staff had to endure. My mosque has never been set on fire. To be Muslim in New York is to expect indignity. But indignity does not make us distinct. There are many New Yorkers who face it. It is the tolerance of that indignity that does.
Yes.
Since I announced my candidacy for mayor 1 year ago yesterday, I have sought to be the candidate fighting for every single New Yorker, not simply the Muslim candidate. I've carried these indignities with me each moment of this race, doing so all the while as the first major Muslim candidate in the history of our city. I thought that if I could build a campaign of universality, I could define myself as the leader I aspire to be, one representing every New Yorker, no matter their skin color or religion, no matter where they were born. I thought that if I worked hard enough, it would allow me to be that leader. And I thought that if I behaved well enough, or bit my tongue enough in the face of racist, baseless attacks, all while returning back to my central message, it would allow me to be more than just my faith. I was wrong. No amount of redirection is ever enough. In doing this, I have told the wide-eyed young child in Jackson Heights or the first-time voter in Parkchester that they too should remain in the shadows. In many ways, I have become that same uncle who pulled me aside 6 years ago. No more. The dream of every Muslim is simply be treated the same as any other New Yorker. And yet for too long, we have been told to ask for less than that and to be satisfied with whatever little we receive. No more. For as long as we have lived, we have known that no matter what anyone says, there are still certain forms of hate that are acceptable in this city. Islamophobia is not seen as inexcusable. One can incite violence against our mosques and know that condemnation will never come. Elected officials in this city can sell T-shirts calling for my deportation without any fear of accountability. The consequences amidst this inaction are stark. More than 1 million Muslims in this city existing all while being made to feel as if we are guests in our own home. No more. We stand on the precipice of an election, but that is not what today is about. We know that in less than 2 weeks we will say goodbye to a disgraced former governor and our current indicted mayor. The bigger question is whether we are willing to say goodbye to something much larger than either of these two men. It is whether we are willing to say goodbye to anti-Muslim sentiment that has grown so endemic in our city that when we hear it, we know not whether the words were spoken by a Republican or a Democrat. We know only that it was spoken in the language of politics of this city. In an era of ever diminishing bipartisanship, it seems that Islamophobia has emerged as one of the few areas of agreement. And while I appreciate all who have rushed to my defense over these past few days, I think of those Muslims in this city who do not have the luxury of being the Democratic nominee, who do not have the luxury of being deemed worthy of solidarity. While my opponents in this race have brought hatred to the forefront, this is just a glimpse of what so many have to endure every day across this city. And while it would be easy for us to say that this is not who we are as a city, we know the truth. This is who we have allowed ourselves to become. And a question lies before each of us. Will we continue to accept a narrow definition of what it means to be a New Yorker that makes smaller every day the number of those guaranteed a life of dignity? Will we remain in the shadows, or will we together step into the light? There are 12 days remaining until Election Day. I will be a Muslim man in New York City each of those 12 days and every day that follows after that. I will not change who I am, how I eat, or the faith that I am proud to call my own. But there is one thing that I will change. I will no longer look for myself in the shadows. I will find myself in the light. Thank you very much.
Woo.
Cuomo apologize.
Wow. I mean, my God, it needed to be said. It needed to be said, and there are way too many people who are way too comfortable being so explicitly racist towards Muslims in this country. Islamophobia, which is encouraged, it's acceptable, it's encouraged. And that line about how a lot of people experience a life of indignity, but how one thing that separates Muslims is how they are supposed to tolerate that. The tolerance of indignity, the normalization of Islamophobia in liberal circles. Oh, hate has no home here. Hate is no home here. Love is love. That kind of shit. And how it really is it is. The Islamophobia feels like the last form of racism acceptable in liberal circles to be as explicit as it is as well. I mean, you can, oh God, such a beautiful, heartbreaking, honest speech where he has to answer over and over and over again. But what are you going to do about anti-Semitism? What about Jewish New Yorkers? And that's because Muslim New Yorkers, all Muslims in general, are expected to tolerate hate against them. Nobody gives a shit. Do you see anybody asking, what about Islamophobia? Islamophobia that's leading to, 6-year-old boys being stabbed to death in the suburbs of Chicago, of college students being shot in Vermont and paralyzed, of mosques being targeted, of everyday institutional racism. He says jihad. Even just words in Arabic being treated as a vile thing. Oh, listen, look. I mean, every element of Muslim culture being treated as something that is violent, while simultaneously this government and the politicians who make it up have a very cozy relationship with Saudi Arabia, with the people who played a part, big old part in 9/11. So it's interesting to always remember that difference there. Remember how Obama was a good family man as opposed to an Arab? Yes. Like, I remember how everybody was praising John McCain for being like, Barack Hussein Obama is, let me pull the exact quote.
And frankly, we're scared. We're scared of an Obama presidency.
They were scared of him because his middle name is Hussein. That is how entrenched Islamophobia is.
First of all, I want to be president of the United States, and obviously I do not want Senator Obama to be. But I have to tell you, he is a decent person and a person that you do not have to be scared as president of the United States. Now, look, if I didn't think I wouldn't be one heck of a lot better president, I wouldn't be running, okay? And that's the point. That's the point.
I got to ask you a question. I do not believe in. I can't trust Obama.
I don't trust
I have
Obama.
Read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not. No.
No, ma'am. He's a.
I don't trust that Obama. He's an Arab. He's an Arab.
He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about.
And honestly, what's crazy is that we have moved past the John McCain, the John McCains of politics, where now it's just straight up like, oh, you're gonna drive that plane into the building? Oh, but I still need to point out that there is still this framing of, no, he's not an Arab. He's a good man, a family man, right? And so this is not the explicit racism that we are seeing right now towards people like Zoran, what Ilhan Omar deals with all the time. But it's to point out that this is still so commonplace. Oh, no, he's not Muslim. Like, I hear this all the time from liberals, from conservatives. It's not a partisan stance. It's not depending on where you fall on the political spectrum means you are an Islamophobe. It's giving like he's good because he's not Arab. Like, imagine if he had been. Imagine if Obama was an Arab man. If he was Muslim. Right. He answers it as if being Arab, Muslim, and being a good family man are mutually exclusive. Yes. And still, it's crazy to think like just how we're at now, where we're at now, and the like the post 9/11 levels of Islamophobia, but almost worse because it's been cooking for decades. And because of the genocide in Palestine and how people who have sought to defend that have engaged in the all too familiar and all too acceptable Islamophobic tropes. This segment is always what I think of from that era as well. They were trying to make a fist bump a foreign terrorist thing. Wait, you just you sent me the Google link for terrorist videos. Which one were you trying to link? This is very much something that I would do as well, just so you know. The terrorist, will you link the link the actual video? That search is very funny. Green Base Guy, thank you for the 5 months. Do you think the accidental release of the extremely racist AI ad has anything to do with Hakeem Jeffries finally endorsing? No. Hakeem Jeffries is finally endorsing him because it's one day before voting. And because because Zoran's going to win, because there's so much support for him. So Hakeem has been facing a lot of pressures. A lot of people from the Democratic base who are, I mean, also the endorsement is so tepid. It's such a non-endorsement. It's so clear. It's so clear that he does not legitimately endorse him because he believes that he's the best person to be mayor. In a statement to the New York Times, Mr. Jeffries acknowledged that the two men had areas of principal disagreement, but he said that Mr. Mamdani had won a free and fair election in the Democratic primary and emphasized he is the Democratic candidate, just like he won the primary, and emphasized that the party needed to unite in the face of an existential threat from President Trump. Hakeem Jeffries' endorsement of Mamdani is the most passive-aggressive one I've ever seen. It notes areas of disagreement before saying he won a fair and free election. So it's such a non-endorsement. It also doesn't do shit. It's like a little too late, buddy. He's scared of being primaried. I mean, this is absolutely just to try and appease people who rightfully have called out the lack of Democratic Party leadership for the Democratic candidate, the person who won the primary, who is so far and away the best candidate in the race and who will win. Who is going to win.
Body language and what we can glean from it. Janine Driver is a body language expert and joins us now. Janine, thanks for being back with us.
Body language expert.
Okay, tell me about this whole thing. Let's start with the Barack and Michelle Obama.
This might be the lowest pixelated video I've ever seen.
That's what most people are writing about this this fist thump. Is that sort of a signal that young people get?
I'm sure it is, without a doubt. And it's a connection that they have together. It's something just personal between the two of them, like, I'm proud of you.
I'm sorry, do you need to bring in a body language expert to talk about a fist bump? Here we've brought Janine Driver, our body language expert, to break down a fist bump between Michelle and Barack Obama.
My husband and I if we're walking down the street.
Is this a signal to young people? Is this something that young people understand?
Proud of me. We have our own little method. He squeezes my hand 3 times, which means I love you. And I squeeze his 4 times, saying I love you too. It's something intimate between them, but I'm sure young people in this country are going to kind of like them kind of representing a little bit.
Has our communication style changed as a culture in America, where we have more of this nonverbal communication?
Absolutely, Edie. I mean, just even look in business women, we're wearing suits today, pantsuits. The generation from my mother's era versus today, it's always evolving and always changing. And that's just part of what we see. Obama, it is kind of a hip gesture that they're making there with that little fist bump, and it's just a connection. It's something personal between them. The mistake that a lot of body language experts make, Edie, is they say, okay, arms are crossed, so it means you're bored and disinterested. They pigeonhole.
I have never seen somebody stretch something that is so obvious to anybody who knows anything at all. They created nonverbal communication in 2008. I have never seen somebody stretch something
gesture
this
into
long.
a certain meaning. That's unscientific. It's unscientific. The best thing to say is, Obama, is there any reason why you guys did that? What did it mean? And he'll tell you, because we know what we're doing and what it means to others.
Okay, let me ask you about this then, because George Bush is a little older than Barack Obama, and he did one of these. Look at that, folks! Stop, turn around, look at your TV screen. He's doing that chest bump. Now I see that in the end zone in NFL games after somebody scores a major touchdown. I don't normally.
Wow! Would you look at that? Wow! Look at that! I mean, that's a real American right there. We all know what a chest bump is. A fist bump, on the other hand, though.
I expect to see the President of the United States doing it. What does that mean?
Edie, it's funny, when I saw these pictures and your producer sent them to me today, I really cracked up laughing. You know, these pictures with George Bush are being taken, the President George Bush, are being taken out of context. He was there at the Air Force Academy. These people were graduating, these cadets, and he said, what can I do? How can I represent you and acknowledge your amazing effort and what you're doing for this country? So sometimes one person said, call my mom and say, you know, you're proud of me to your mom. Another picture, he's doing the Heisman with someone.
I don't think there's context needed. An out of context chest bump? I've never heard of such a thing.
He's making a muscle with this woman.
You know what?
This cadet wanted that. This cadet said, this is what I want.
If you can survive those presidential races, I guess you deserve to do whatever you feel like doing.
Edie,
Janine
it
Driver.
establishes rapport. That's the bottom line. The president's establishing rapport. He's becoming more like them. I give him a thumbs up for these gestures.
Janine Driver, thank you very much.
I do love that they brought Janine in to try and make the connection between Barack Obama being a dangerous terrorist Muslim and the fist bump that he did with his wife. They're like, so what do you think that secretly signals to the young people in this country? And Janine goes on and talks about, well, my husband and I, we like to squeeze each other's hands. He'll squeeze my hand 3 times. I squeeze his hand 4 times. And then he squeezes my hand 5 times. And then I squeeze his hand 6 times. And it's really our way to communicate that we love each other. Yeah, but talking about the jihad fist bump. Janine, back to the jihad fist bump. As a body language expert, well, I'm no body language expert, but I do feel that, I think the fist bump, there's 2. You have 2 fists. Do you know what else there was 2 of? Towers. Well, not anymore, because those were brought down. So, no body language expert, but I think all of us can maybe see the connection here, Janine. Nothing more of a scam than being a body language expert. These BLEs. 9/11. But yeah, probably gets paid thousands to be the body language expert on Fox News. Oh boy. Okay, so yes, Hakeem Jeffries begrudgingly last minute not endorsing Zoran because he is going to be the next mayor, and Hakeem Jeffries has to worry about his future, his own future in the Democratic Party. Hogan, thank you for the gifted sub. Anyway, just to wrap this up, I just feel this is so important too. This is so important, this speech, who Zoran is, what he represents. And this is something that we need to make it unacceptable. We need to make Islamophobia unacceptable. As I said, too many people who are too comfortable being disgustingly racist in public because there's no consequences to it. There's no repercussions. I mean, seriously, I know people who be like, I'm not racist, but I just don't like Muslims. Because that is not considered to be racist. It's not considered to be unacceptable, to be any type of faux pas, to view Islam, to view Muslims as bad, as not worthy of, not only not worthy of a dignified existence, but having to tolerate that indignity. Even among liberals and progressives. Absolutely. Yep. Oh, yeah. And I talked about this before, but I started to see white leftists get a little too comfortable speaking to Palestinians on Twitter. Palestinians in diaspora, even Palestinians like who have left Palestine, who were able to escape, where I'm like, okay, Jonathan, who lives in Brooklyn and has his little flannel on and is a member of the DSA, getting a little too comfortable here with how we're speaking to Palestinians about a cause that they have fought for their entire lives because it is personal to them, because it has affected their family for decades. So it's just kind of that like too comfortable, getting a little too comfortable. Did you see this tonight? Oh, Pink Panthers features Zohran Mamdani and her show in New York City. That's awesome. Pink Panthers, my queen. Just two icons maximizing joint play. All right. So let me see what time it is. It's almost 9 o'clock. Yeah, I'll probably watch that speech over and over again. I just think it's really necessary. I think the vitriol and vile harassment from members of his own party that he experiences, that Ilhan Omar experiences, we've gotten way too comfortable, and this is something that we need to root out of across society. The Islamophobia that's so deeply entrenched, and finally having the potential of the first Muslim mayor in New York City, and what that will mean for people, what that means for all of us. And I really do. And the thing is that Zohran is also, he is obviously superior to his opponents, but he operates in a way that doesn't just point to the bad, doesn't just be like, we're in hell, but offers people a way through. The ability to envision a different New York, actual solutions, but also the having a Muslim man be the mayor of New York City will be it's an important step forward. And I don't think that like representation necessarily is the answer to is the answer to political problems. And oftentimes we get people, finally, we get them at the table, and then they're just, they just have a seat at the table and aren't doing anything to actually upend the table. But I do think that him speaking on not just his experience, but the experience of a lot of New Yorkers, and basically saying enough is enough. And that is valuable. It is. When they're based AF, that helps. Yeah. So never forget Gillibrand accused him of global jihad. Yeah. They're all racist assholes. They are all racist assholes. That's what it's about. Wait, okay, before I leave, I have to show you guys something cute. So Robert Irwin is playing Fiyero in Wicked. Robert Irwin, who is the son of the late Steve Irwin, and he's a little Broadway baby, but this is so sweet. Jonathan Bailey sent him flowers, and look at how cute this is.
Oh my goodness, that's gorgeous. Wait, what? Hang on, hold on.
Who's it from?
It's from Jonathan Bailey.
Stop.
No,
Stop.
seriously.
It's from Jonathan Bailey.
You are the shiz, Robert. You've done all the Fiero's crowd cheering you on from afar. Big love, JB. What?
That is really cool.
This has made my day. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
You want to put those down so we can rehearse, or are you just gonna?
How cute. It's gorgeous. You are the shiz. So I guess these two performed a jazz routine to Dancing Through Life, or Dancing with the Stars Wicked theme night. And he dressed as, he did Prince Fiyero, and that's who Jonathan Bailey plays in the Wicked films. And so he sent him flowers, which was so sweet. I don't know, y'all, I gotta be so for real. Seeing most of the time, I'm not like this, but I feel an affinity for the Irwin kids. I think a lot of us growing up with Steve Irwin, loving Steve Irwin, being devastated by his death, and then seeing his family continue on, you know, seeing Bindi when Bindi had her baby. I just have a soft spot for them. I do. And so seeing them thrive is something that will always, that always touches my heart. It does. Will this be how you react to Wicked Part 2?
Wonderful, they'll call you wonderful.
Come and be wonderful.
No.
Trust me, it's fun.
We will be wonderful.
You'll make me wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful.
But okay, I have a question. Is it because they've never seen Wicked, or because they're just really excited? They're really excited that it's now a film, or because they just really love Ariana Grande? I don't know. I love Wicked. I have seen the show. I've seen it, but I am genuinely... Look, y'all, I'm a theater kid, but I have my limits too. I have my limits. Can we watch the dance? Because he's
Dancing
so good.
Jazz.
Yeah.
With his partner Whitney Carson, it's
Dancing
Robert
Through
Irwin.
Life.
Dancing through life, skimming the surface, gliding where turf is smooth. Life's more painless for the brainless. Why think too hard when it's so soothing? Dancing through life, swaying and sweeping, and always keeping cool. Life is faultless when you're thoughtless. Those who don't try Never look foolish, dancing through life, mindless and careless. Make sure you're wearless, trouble is rife. Woes are fleeting, blows are glancing when you're dancing through life.
Through life.
Dancing through life. If only because dust is what we come to. Nothing matters, but knowing nothing matters. It's just life. It's just life.
Thanks for watching.
To get more.
I have my limits, she says, as she she starts singing along. Yeah, that's how I am. Okay, so speaking of musicals, I'm so excited. I am going to see Hadestown finally for the first time. They are doing the national tour and they are going to be at the Pantages. So I am going. I am ecstatic. I'm ecstatic. I have always loved Hadestown. I just have never seen a performance of it. So you know what I'm doing? Here's what I'm doing. I am back in my seeing live performances era.
Done.
I am. I'm going back to shows. I'm going to go see theater again. I'm going to be surrounding myself with arts and with culture. I love movies, obviously. Love movies, love TV. Still will watch a lot of it. But I think one thing I've been missing is seeing theater. So I'm going back. Huge news. Huge. I'm going back. You must catch Maybe Happy Ending when the tour stops in LA. Would love to. So I'm so back. I'm so back. Your Honor,
with his
she's
partner
back.
Whitney Carson, it's Robert Irwin.
This is his dedication to his mom. Hi.
Come stop your crying, it will be alright. Just take my hand, hold it tight. I will protect you from all around you. I will be here, don't you cry. 'Cause you'll be in my heart. Yes, you'll be in my heart.
I love this song.
Stay on now and forevermore. When destiny calls you, you must be strong. I may not be with you, but you got to hold on.